Today is September the 1st, 2016. I'm Keith Warr, and welcome to another episode of Homeless in Titusville. And today I'm being joined by Roger Stanclift.
Peace.
Roger, how old are you?
I just turned 49. August 12th.
49.
Yes.
And how long have you been homeless?
Since I got in a motorcycle accident, I believe that was in 2000 and it's 2016. It was 2000, probably 13. When I
So
got
you've been
in the
homeless
motorcycle.
about 3 years or so, 3.5 years maybe?
Yeah.
And what kind of life did you have before you were homeless? Did you have a home? Did you rent? Did you own?
Actually, I had a very good job. I worked for Billy Robinson. I was installing windows and doors. I was literally bringing home $5,000 a week cash. And then I got offered a job at NASA, and I worked out there, and I was bringing home, I couldn't even count the numbers.
Well, what happened to all that money? Did you not save it? Did you spend? Did you?
Well, I
what?
was in a relationship with a lady, and she wanted to go home to her mama because she was sick. She was a nurse, and her career took her one way, and my career took me another way. I mean, we still talk to each other all the time. I mean, we love each other to death. But she's in one side of the country, and I'm on the other side. She's up in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm down here in Florida. I can't take the cold. I got too much titanium in my body. I mean, I can't take the cold. So
Right.
she understands that. She needs to be around her mother because she's the only one that can take care of her.
And what about Social Security, disability, or food stamps, or welfare? Do you get any cash assistance or any kind of financial assistance from the state or the government?
Well, they started to give me Social Security, food stamp assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a letter in the mail saying that they were gonna put me back to school. I mean, I already been to school. Now they want to put me back in school.
Well, let's talk about your schooling. What kind of education do you have?
I finally graduated high school. I put myself through high school with a full-time job. I had my own apartment when I was 14, 15 years old. Got emancipated from my parents.
Have you ever been to college?
They were mad about that. I put myself in a college class up at NIU and Northern Illinois University.
And did you graduate?
I didn't exactly graduate, but I had enough honors to do what I had to do. I mean, it's real simple. You walk on a job site, and it's as simple as this. If you can perform the job, you will be hired. And I got on every machine on that job. That's what I did was I was a heavy machinery operator. I could run any machine because on the family farm in Wisconsin, that's all I did. If you were big enough to touch the pedals, you were big enough to do the job.
Is that where you grew up? Did you grow up in Wisconsin, or where do you call home?
Well, Chicago is where I went to school.
That's where you grew up as a kid?
Yes. But the rest of our family had a farm several farms in Wisconsin.
So what is the situation with your family? Are your parents still living?
No, both of them are deceased. My mom died in 1988. She died of lymphoma. My dad died 2003. He was already 90-some years old. He was in World War II. He was in the Korean War and all that. He was a career you know,
Military guy.
veteran.
Right. How about brothers and sisters? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I got 7 brothers and 6 sisters. I'm number 13 of 14 kids.
And do you have any children of your own?
Do I
Yes.
have any children? I got 4 sons that I know of and 3 daughters.
And what about these family members? When's the last time you talked to them? Do they know that you're homeless?
I haven't talked to anybody in my family. They haven't talked. Everybody, when my mom died, everything fell apart. When my dad died, it fell apart even worse. He was talking to my brothers and sisters and my nephews and nieces and this and that, and he got mad at me one day because he was going senile when he was dying, and he got Alzheimer's and all that stuff, and you know how Alzheimer's patients, they say things that they don't mean.
So none of your family knows that you're homeless?
Nobody knows anything about me. Except my sister Jennifer, and you know what? I've tried calling her several times, and every time I call her, all she wants to do is yell and scream at me, and I don't appreciate that, and I'm not going to tolerate it. I mean, I'm an old man. I ain't going to deal with that.
So, you know Perry Favero, the one that just died recently.
Favero.
So
he was a good friend of mine.
He was a really good friend of yours, and you were telling me that your health isn't so good, and recently, just in the past couple of weeks, you're hospitalized.
I was in the hospital at the same time he was, and I went in the hospital first. He went in 2 days later, and I was in intensive care. He was in intensive care, and then I heard they put him up on the 5th floor of Parish Medical Hospital. They sent me to the 3rd floor. Oh, okay. Well, the day I was about to get out, the nurse told me that they sent him to a hospice. I says, where? And they said the one across from the police station at over there on 405. And I'm looking at him going, okay, is it okay for me to go over there? Yeah, you go over there. So me and Tom went over there. And we got over there, and man, they had him hooked up to every gizmo in the world, I mean, he had bags hanging out of his leg was as big around as my chest, black and blue, and he was dying.
Yeah.
And the next morning, he deceased, and that was a good friend of mine, and it was over.
So what's going on with your health? You told me that you were off.
They tried to put me in a hospice.
Did you in hospice, right?
Well, I'm still here. I'm still kicking. I'm still talking. I'm still walking and rocking and rolling.
You have esophageal varices, which is something where you get like a sore. For those who don't know, it's like getting a sore in the inside of your esophagus, and if you eat something that's hot or sharp and something,
it's having varicose veins in your
esophagus, right? And they can burst, and you can bleed to death.
Yeah, you'll bleed out and won't even know it. I mean, you'll be bleeding inside you, and the next thing you know, it's coming out of every orifice of your body. You feel dizzy, you're weak, you can't move, and you know something's going on, and you can't, and you call somebody and it's like, yeah, whatever. No, this is a very serious condition. You could bleed to death internally and never know it.
Well, you're homeless and you're out here on the streets. Did it even appeal to you at all to be able to stay at the I mean, could you come and go as you wanted from the hospice? If you were to stay there, can you stay like as though it's an apartment and you can still come and go?
I don't think that's even possible. They won't even let you stay at the hospital. They gave me so many blood transfusions. I got all the scars.
But you were offered hospice recently in the past month or so.
Yeah. And I was like, hospice, end of life care is what they called it.
Right.
And I was, no.
But aren't you worried being out on the street and not having anyone around to help you?
You know what? It scares the crap out of me because you know what? I gotta hide anywhere I go because of the police will always mess with you and throw you in jail if you're on the wrong, you know, if
right,
you're
just
in the
for
wrong,
trespassing, for napping somewhere.
If you fall asleep in a park or, you know, if I feel tired or weak, I need to lay down. I need to lay down.
And that shouldn't be a criminal act.
No,
you shouldn't be
that's
jailed.
not a criminal act.
Absolutely.
Okay, if I need to lay down, I'm homeless, I need to lay down somewhere, or I need to use the washroom somewhere. It's like these guys follow me around, you know, and say, why are you doing this?
Do you feel targeted by the police? Do you feel like they've given you a lot of trespasses? And
yes. They've trespassed me just the other day for absolutely nothing. I was a guy that fell down, an old man, fell out of his wheelchair and busted his head. He needed stitches. I called the police. The police came. Oh crap, what happened to him? Then they were threatening me, saying that we beat him up. I had another guy with me, Tom Luger.
All right, that doesn't even make sense. Why would you call the cops for help for somebody that you supposedly beat somebody up? Like, that doesn't even make sense that you'd be the one that called if you were the one that did do something like that.
I called the police to let them know that there was a man hurt in the park. That was it.
And you were threatened with a trespass?
Yep. Then threatened. No, this is the first part. What they did was, they asked me what happened. We just got here. And then they kept drilling us. Well, someone says you beat him up. I said, somebody who? There was nobody here. We got here and he was already on the ground. And then here come the park guy. And then they wanted, you know, they called an ambulance for him. We had to demand that they had to call the ambulance for him. He had his head was split open at least 4 inches. Yeah, he needed stitches. He needed to go to the hospital. He's just a drunk. Really?
But even so, even if he is, so what?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He needs medical attention.
He's a human being that needs help.
And we were sitting there yelling and bitching about it. And when the ambulance finally did get there, when all is said and done, they're loading him up in the ambulance. The guy that runs the park, Dave, I can't remember his last name, he's told us, all of us were trespassed. What? I ain't never done nothing wrong in that park.
Right.
I mean, this is ridiculous. We're trying to help some old man out, and they trespass all of us. This trespassing thing in Florida and all around here down in the South is ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, they trespass you because your feet stink. They trespass you because you look funny. They trespass you because you're wearing a backpack. Who says I ain't got a laptop and $500,000 in my backpack? I mean,
well, you know, you've had a lot of interactions with the police because you were one of the ones who the police went and stole your belongings and threw them away, and you won a lawsuit against the city.
Yes, I won a lawsuit. Almost $10,000. And you know what?
And that's because they targeted you as a homeless person?
They targeted me as a homeless person, and that was right after a motorcycle accident I was in where I was crippled for 2.5 years on crutches. And they came and scooped all my stuff up and stuck it in a dump truck and threw it away, which means my birth certificate, my ID, all my stuff went right to the dumpster.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was caught on video. That's how we won the lawsuit.
Wow.
It's still got that video, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there on YouTube for sure. So you know what's the biggest thing you're struggling with right now? You know, I mean, obviously you need somewhere to stay, but like, how are you feeding yourself? Do you make money? Do you panhandle? Do you do?
That's almost impossible because I go for days and days without eating.
And that is that because you don't have the money? Like, why
I don't
is
have
that?
no money. I can't even get a job. I'm 50 years old. I don't have an ID anymore. And that was part of the lawsuit. And that was 5 years ago. They were supposed to give me back my ID. They were supposed to give me back my credentials. It's never happened. So now, 5 years later, I'm still suffering and living on the street. But I'm still alive, and I ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, look, you know, I really appreciate you spending a minute letting us know who you are, letting us get to know you. And, you know, also, guys, I'm going to show you all the possessions that Roger has in the world. He takes with him on a bike. And, you know, that's it. That's all he has in the whole world, and you guys will see that. This is a really tough life, and you know, and right now Roger's struggling with his health, and he's unable to work. He's really unable to do anything for himself. He's really stuck, and you know, I don't know what the answer is. I try to give a voice to the homeless and do these videos with them.
I've got some serious medical issues.
Yes, you do.
I got a whole bag full. I mean, I could whip out page after page after page. You know, I've been in the hospital 17, 18, 19 times since April.
I know you
have. I've almost died 3, 4, 5 times. You know, but I'm still here living and kicking, and I ain't going anywhere anytime soon. They want to stick me in a hospice. I says, oh, no way. You know, what? You know, sometimes I feel like I'm dying, but they fixed me up, and you know what? Parish Medical Hospital has been great at that.
So they treat you nice.
Very nice people up there. I know all the nurses by name, and actually they're very pretty ladies too. But they take care of me actually well, and you know, it's just the whole ordeal is just stupid. I used to make thousands of dollars. You know, I had a nice house in La Cita on a golf course a few years ago.
And I think the reality is that this situation can happen to anybody.
It could happen to anybody in a half a second. I know how many people I know that are living under the bridge under there in their Mercedes Benzes and their BMWs and their, you know, high class vans and campers. They're homeless and they're living under the bridge.
Right.
I mean, you go down there any time of the day or night, and it's all you got to do is have a fishing pole in the water, and you're able to stay there.
Well, listen, we're going to get going, but do you have any final words or messages for anybody? If anyone in your family were to see this video, do you have any messages? Do you have anything you want them to know? Is there anything you want the viewers to know?
There's only one person I'd like to say anything to, and that'd be my little sister, Jennifer Stanclift. I don't know what her last name is now, but because she's probably married to somebody else. I have no idea. I mean, that's her business. But
and then what was her last hometown that you knew of?
Elgin, Illinois.
All right, so
she's a banker girl, and I'm sure she works at home on her computer, and she'll know me 10 ways from Sunday. There ain't no getting away from that. I still love my sister just as much as I hate her, and you know, we've never really got along, you know, but we do love each other. But yeah, my sister Jennifer, you know, she really is cool beans, and she's very intelligent. She used to be the vice president of Harris State Bank up in Chicago. It was a like a conglomerate of banks. Like there was like 15, 20 banks in that area. But
all right, Roger. Well, hey, look, man, we appreciate you spending the time, a few minutes, letting us get to know you, and we'll see you next time.